I'm sorry.
Hi, everybody, and welcome to Black Readers Con. My name is Kay the Reader, and I'm here with my co host, Summer Reads Romance. And we
AKA
have,
Lacey.
I'm sorry, what? What's your name?
AKA Belinda Lacey.
Belinda Lacey. Welcome. We are so glad that you are here with us this evening. We're going to have a lot of fun tonight. So, first of all, I want to say we want to make sure that everyone follows Black Readers Con across all social media so that you don't miss special events like this one, and so that you can learn about the Black Readers Con conference that is coming up in October of this year. It will be the 28th through the 30th, both in New York and virtually. You don't want to miss it. Again, follow Black Readers Con everywhere. Summer, are you excited about tonight?
Oh yes.
I'm
You know,
I'm
I
very excited.
very excited. I love to meet these lovely ladies when they
Yes.
come.
So let's introduce these lovely ladies. So we will start with a Howard alum who is a professor, who also has a poetry collection called Be Trouble. Her name is Bridget Bianca. Hi, Bridget.
Hey y'all. Thank you for having me.
We are so glad that you're here.
I'm
Hi,
glad to be
Arthur
here.
D.O. White is in the house. Dr. Raymond Williams is in the house. Hi. And to everyone else watching, we're glad you're here. And we have another educator in the house, someone who's like my sister in my head. Someone who has a passion for vampires. Her name is Mika from the Reading Room 444. Hey, Mika.
Hey, everybody. Hey.
And of course, Summer, you can introduce yourself too.
I'm Summer Chapman from Summer Reads Romance on Instagram and Facebook. As my name says, I read romance. And I love talking with all the book folks when they can tell me stuff that's not romance.
She loves, let me tell you, she's going to convince me to read some romance. But I'm so glad to have Bridget and Summer here. And I know
And
people are,
Mika,
I mean,
I love you guys' reels.
listen, Mika has some great reels. And I'm like, how does she sit and think of what in the world she's doing? I mean, the way you put those things together. And then Bridget, I can't get over your stories. I love them. I'm like, okay, what did Bridget talk about today? What did she do today? What hair did she get today?
A
So
little
we're
bit.
going to talk. So we're going to talk about books and reading and social media. But before we get into all that, I know people are looking at us saying, "What's going on? Why
What are
they
you
look
talking?
like that?"
What are you talking about? What's wrong? Just a regular Saturday.
So, Bridget, let's start with you. Tell us about yourself and why you look so beautiful in that outfit tonight.
Thank you. Well, I'm Bridget Bianca, poet and professor from South Central Los Angeles. I'm not a book reviewer, but I do talk a lot. And usually I'm talking about romance on Instagram. Okay. So I dressed like every baddie in every romance novel that shows up in red. And they're like, wait a minute, who's that? It's me. Okay. So all the baddies in red in romance novels and on covers, I want to represent for them. Even though red is not necessarily my color, but I feel like it might be. It might be today.
I think so.
Looks
You
good.
look pretty good in that red, if you ask me.
Yes.
All
I
right.
appreciate it.
Okay, Mika, tell us about yourself and how you're dressed tonight.
Well, hi, everybody. I am Mika. I am a 16-year educator. I teach 8th grade middle school. Woo, woo, woo to the educators in the building. I am actually dressed like the Old West. I just recently read for the first time a Beverly Jenkins novel, and I want to showcase how we as Black people and Black women can be beautiful during this time, because sometimes we don't get to see those images. So I kind of dress just like a Beverly Jenkins character.
That is great. Summer.
Yes, I am also dressed. Beverly Jenkins is like my favorite romance author, so I'm dressed like one of her characters, Valinda Lacey. I'm not an educator, but I'm playing one right now. In Rebel is her book that came out. I want to say in 2021, maybe 2020, something like that. Yeah.
And tonight I am dressed like. Well, let's see if anybody in the audience can guess. This is a hint. We'll see if they can put something in the comments if they know who I'm dressed like tonight. Maybe I need to kind of show what I'm wearing here. I'm not a pirate.
Oh, you knew Dr. Raymond was gonna get it.
Of course, Dr. Raymond was
Red Nation.
Raymond doesn't play.
Yes.
Oh, DL said that she was going to guess Bridgerton for me. It would have been, but we got to represent Beverly Jenkins.
Okay, so tonight I want to start in getting to know you ladies better. Many people recognize you from Instagram, but because we are live streaming on Facebook and YouTube, we may have some viewers that are not familiar. So I'm going to ask you a few questions so that people will get to know you a little better and they will follow you on your social media. So Mika has her social media here at the Reading Room 444. And Bridget's is at Bridget Bianca on Instagram as well. So please follow these ladies if you're not following them already on Instagram. Okay.
We'll be very happy you did.
Listen.
I got on one of Bridget's because I wasn't following you until Kay told me about you, and we were talking about the Alexandria house. I was like, oh, she really rewrote it. So.
I was so mad at Instagram because I had not seen Bridget, and I was so mad at their algorithm. I was like, what do you mean you took this long to show me this woman's page? And what did it was her reel on Be Trouble. She was dancing to holding her book off of Thank You Next. And y'all just have to watch that reel. She was getting it. She was kept fat.
That was my Bridgerton cosplay.
Yes. And I was like, who is this woman and why haven't I been following her?
Yes, and you have to follow the Reading Room 444, the way she brings covers to life.
To life.
To life. I'm like, ma'am, when do you teach?
And then
all hail the queen.
And Mika can dance too. Listen, both of these ladies.
I know. Can I have your knees for a minute, Mika?
They can both dance very well. So you have to check out Bridget's Upgrade You, her Beyonce tribute. Y'all have got to see that. Okay. Fantastic. So let's start with, I like to find out people's origin stories. So to get to know you a little better. So Mika, let's start with you. So who taught you to read? And when did you fall in love with books and reading? Because we don't always fall in love when we first learn, but give us those details.
Well, as a child, I was the oldest for quite some time. Is my oldest brother, and I was the only girl. So I had to find something that fit me. And when I was little growing up, my mom would read me stories. And one of my favorite, it was Casper the Friendly Ghost. And she would read it to me and I memorized it. And so by memory, I would mimic reading the book. And so my uncle thought I was reading. I was maybe like 3 or 4, very, very young. And so as I grew older and older, you hit those teenage years. And if you go on my Instagram, I'm very quirky. I'm very nerdy. I'm very eclectic. And so unfortunately, growing up, being a Black girl and being that way, I was always called, I was trying to be something other than Black, or I wasn't a Black girl. And I was made fun of because I love rock and roll, I love alternative music. So I was shunned. And so one of the things that I found refuge in are books. And I fell in love in middle school when I found the Babysitters Club series. And yes, it was absolutely phenomenal. And then I would dive into many different genres. And then I noticed that there were stories that had ghosts and dragons and vampires. And I just took a liking to that, because it was just, I felt it was something that was off the beaten path like me, like it marched to the beat of its own drum. And so that developed my love of reading, and it just fostered just me as a reader, just growing up and up until now.
Oh, I love that. Thank you for sharing that.
Babysitters Club definitely got me. I'm hooked on series now, and I blame Sweet Valley Twins and the Babysitter Club because I read every one of those 35 books. You on mute, Bridget.
I was over here saying yes. When you said Babysitters Club, I'm like, where are my books at? Because I know they're around here somewhere. I was hooked.
My sister bought me the first 5 in a lunchbox for Christmas. I was looking for them. I was like, I need to reread.
They're still good. They hold up.
Yeah. Do they? I haven't read them since the 80s.
I don't think I've ever read any of those. I know, for shame, right?
Girl, and then when they put a Black character in there, what?
Right. Okay, Bridget, tell us your origin story.
Well, I guess mine's a little bit similar. My grandmother was an educator. She taught for 30 years, and she retired to watch me when my parents went to work. And she had all these books, and she would give me the books to read to basically keep me busy. So I could mind my business and go and do what she had to do. And a lot of them were Babysitters Club books in the early days. But I learned that reading was a fun thing to do before people could tell me that it wasn't a fun thing to do. So by the time school really was going and folks were like, yeah, we don't really read for fun. I was like, I always read for fun. I don't know what y'all talking about. You're missing out. You're not going to shame me for this. You should be reading. And then that just continued throughout school. I knew I wanted to be a writer. So I was trying to write stuff at the same time, copying my little Babysitters Club poems, books, and whatever the case is. Then poetry found me in high school. And I was like, okay, I like all the books. I want to read everything. Give me everything. And I was definitely reading books I should not have been reading, but they kept me in the books. Okay, Eric Jerome Dickey, rest in peace. I was 14. I should have been leaving those books alone, but I was definitely sneaking those books to read, which probably started my love of romance and contemporary, Black stories. But I love Toni Morrison. I was like, okay, what can I get my hands on? And I read really fast, and my parents were like, okay, so I'm gonna tell you this right now. We bought you a book yesterday. Take your time. Slow down. You're going too fast. Reread it. And so that made me really appreciate stories by rereading the books over and over again. Mm-hmm. So yeah, that's my origin story. I always loved reading. And now I teach students, college students, to love reading too. And they're like, no, we hate it. It's too late. No, it's not too late. You can reading now. Let me just slide something to you real quick and see what you think, And so that's my love in my life is reading.
Mm-hmm. Oh, so I want to ask you ladies, so what is your reading atmosphere like? I notice sometimes people will light candles and turn on music and put on their cozy pajamas or get some tea or some coffee, and that's how they like to read. Other people are like, I'm going to read wherever, and it doesn't matter where I am. So what kind of mood do you like to set when you're reading? Mika?
Well, I will anywhere. I will read. I will go in my garage and read in the back seat of my car. I will read on my steps. I will read on my couch. I do have a designated, hence the reading room. I do have a designated reading room in my house. So I love to read there. And while I'm reading, I love to snack. That's my favorite thing because I feel like as I'm reading, I'm watching a movie, or I feel like I'm that nosy neighbor in the neighborhood and somebody's telling me the gossip. So you gotta have some snacks while you get the gossip. So I just like to it doesn't matter. Anywhere I will read, anywhere that is a place or a setting for me to read.
Bridget, what about you?
You know, I'm looking at a window seat right now across from me, and I told myself that was going to be my reading space. I was going to pull up a little cushion, get my beverages, get my snacks, right? Because you got to have the snacks and read there. I have not read a book in that seat at all since it's been there. So I need to adjust my reading. I'm a read anywhere kind of person too, but I really love to read at night when everyone else is asleep and the house is quiet, nobody's asking me any questions, I don't have anything happening. And I think it's from being a kid and knowing like, okay, when everyone goes to bed, I can bring my little book out and, have my little lamp and read my book. Like, I think I'm still doing that as a grown-up person, but I don't have to sneak anymore, But yeah, nighttime is the right time for me when it comes to reading, but I got to use that window seat for shame. For shame. I'm not using it.
I'm just hearing Erykah Badu song when you talked about the window seat.
Don't want nobody next to me. Exactly.
Right. Exactly. So Mika has already answered this question. I think I was asking, where do you keep your collection? And I think you answered, you have the reading room.
I do. I have it, and if you go on my page, look, it's a video of Raymond, Dr. Raymond, talking about my reading room, but he wasn't really. But anyway.
I was with you on that one.
Yeah, I'm trying not to rehash old feelings because Raymond has rectified the issue. Okay, so we're not gonna go there.
He did. So we're not gonna go there. Yeah. He did.
But the reading room it's like my own personal library. And growing up, I would have to walk to the library to have or get books. And I didn't have them as far as my own set at home. So that was one thing I was bound and determined to have, a place in my house where I can just house all my books. And so this is the place that I do that, in my designated reading room. So
that's great. What about you, Bridget?
I'm so jealous. Somebody give me a reading room. I have books all over the place in this house. My poor family. My mother was like, I found 3 books just in the bathroom. I was like, oh yeah, I was don't worry about what I was doing. I had 3 books in there that I just put them to the side. I'm gonna move them again. Like, I have books literally everywhere. I have bookshelves, but I told myself not to buy any more physical books. So now me and my iPad, this is my reading room. Wherever I am, the iPad is. That's it.
What about you, Summer?
Well, I have some books on this little small bookshelf back here, but I started reading romance about almost 4 years ago now, and my son now he does play video games, but at that time he would pick up anything and read it, and not all my books were kid friendly. He picked up a book I had called Taming the Tongue. It was like, just trying to watch your words and stuff. No, not that kind of taming.
Oh,
Bridget.
Like, what?
And so that wasn't a bad one, but I was like, I didn't want him to pick up something else and get an education that he didn't need at 9. So, all that to say, my books are on Audible, Libro FM, Kobo, Libby, Hoopla, Kindle. What else we got?
Yeah, I have a spare bedroom where I house a lot of my books, and then I have a bunch in my living room. But my books on my shelf in here are double stacked. So I put the books like Whoreson by Donna Goins on the back because my nephews come over. And and they love books. They love to read, but I don't think they need to see Dope Fiend and Horse Son and all that. So those books are on the
Grandma,
second
what's
row.
this mean?
Love you.
I don't have to answer these questions, you know. And so, as far as my reading atmosphere, I will read anywhere. I do a lot. I listen to a lot of audiobooks in the car. My commute to work one way is about 45 minutes, so I get a lot of story in those 45 minutes. But when I'm at home, I just have a recliner, and I just get in that recliner and I sit there and read. So that's my spot here at the house. So I think all of us are real jealous of Mika right now because she has the reading room. Yeah. I'm trying to think how I can add a room onto the house so I can get a reading room. So we're going to move into talking about books, but I want to ask a question first because I do want to talk about social media and books and how social media has kind of changed the way we read. But I want to ask this specific questions because you're both educators. How do you use what you've learned as an educator to influence your followers? And how do you use what you've learned on social media to influence your students?
I'm gonna jump in if that's okay, Bridget. Okay. So one thing, what I've learned in, well, I didn't actually really learn it, but I just adapted the term. Just having those designated times to read in class. I know that there are a lot of during the pandemic, you know, we had to use a lot of Zoom or video conferencing and etc. So one of the things that we adopted during that time is being able to spend time with each other reading. So I know my book club that I have here in Kentucky, we would have a date that we would meet together and just to generally read, you know, to have that companionship, to share that love in the reading. And so that's one of the things that I do in my classroom. Also, I mirror that. And I always tell my children, my students, no one ever tells a band kid that they can't practice their instrument at school. So no one is telling you that you can't practice your instrument and the art of reading in the classroom. So we definitely take time to read, or if we do a novel study, we definitely take time to read in the classroom. One of the things that I do in my classroom that influenced my social media as a book influencer, I have an annotation guide or annotation system that I use with my students in the classroom that I've also posted and talked about as far as active reading, because reading is active. It is an art. It is something that you practice, that you do. And so I showcase and show how to actively read through videos, through tutorials, through lessons, and they're all on my Instagram. And I color code annotations. I show how to annotate. I show how to take notes. I show how to annotate the annotated notes. Things that I definitely switch back and forth as far as being an educator and a book influencer at the same time.
Nice.
Such great
Bridget is
skills,
loving that.
Ellie.
She's smiling.
I'm like, send your students to me. When they get grown, tell them to come to California, go to my college, because I love all of that.
Yeah. So Bridget, what's your answer to that question?
Very similar things. I think social media in general was a space like to find out what people are talking about, right? Like what's hot. And when it came to literature, I try to change my books up every single year for my classes. Like I don't want to teach the same book for 5 years in a row, even if I love it. Like I want them to see new things. And one way that social media over the past couple of years has taught me what young people are reading, right? Because they're young adults, they're still fairly young in their lives in some cases. Some of them are a little bit older too, but the idea of like reaching them, so not just the classics, but actually like, what do you care about? And so it taught me to read books that maybe people wouldn't think critically about, critically about those, and then teach those books to my students and show them that all these books are literature no matter when they came out, right? And the way that teaching kind of influenced how I maneuver on social media with books is that I do everything with a critical lens. Like everything is like, you know, I talk that good Ray shit. Like what's going on in this book? I'm talking about all these things. That doesn't go away when I read a romance novel, right? I look at them the same exact way I look at any other type of novel. So that taught me like, okay, if I'm going to give a review, which I call them, they're not reviews, they're just, you know, me talking. When I talk about books, I talk about what matters to me. So I'm breaking them down the same ways I would break them down in the classroom. If we were to talk about, you know, intersections of race and gender and disability, like I would get into those same things, you know, maybe with a little bit less, you know, still same flair. I'm still me every time. I think that's, students have gotten used to me being a whole lot. And everything. They know me. But I use social media as like a sounding board for like, okay, what are young people reading? What do people care about in general? I found so many great authors that I wouldn't have found before if I only stuck with what the Academy deemed as literature to be taught to college students. Yeah. Because sometimes those books are kind of boring, honestly, right? And like, we don't want to read them. They don't want to read them. So why am I doing this? Like, let me find somebody else. And I've been able to connect with authors and have them come visit my classes because of social media. Because they see me being silly. They're like, okay, I wouldn't mind talking to you in your class for 30 minutes. That's fine. So that's been pretty cool too.
Now, both of you have large, what I consider large social media followings. So what type of pressure is that to maintain? Do you even feel the pressure to either maintain the numbers you have, gain new followers? What is that like? Are you constantly checking to see how many followers you have, or is it more about the content for you?
I'm just going to jump in first and say this. The people don't know me. The folks following me right now, and I love them all, each and every single one of them. They're following me because a video of Erykah Badu went viral on my page. And so suddenly all these people were like, are you Erykah Badu? I'm not, baby. No, I'm not Erykah Badu. I'm so sorry. And so I have a lot of followers now because of that. But really, I don't think about the number. I think about the engagement. Like I got 40 people strong that always comment, that always want to talk, that always want to bring me a book suggestion, people that are my homies. And so that's who I'm concerned about. Everyone else just welcome in until they get comfortable and want to join in too. So I don't think about it too much because I know they're not just there for me. And if they all go away, I'll still be making the same videos and still laughing and cutting up on social media no matter what. So
yeah. Mika?
You know, at first when I started being a bookstagrammer, I was very concerned about the numbers because there was this misconception going on with how many numbers that you have to get ARCs, right? So I was adamant about getting my numbers up because I felt like, you know, I was really torn because I am a reader and I love books. And how are you going to judge my love of books and reading by the numbers that I've accumulated on the platform? And after a certain point, I had gotten to the position of I want to create art. I want to showcase, as I always say, what Black women can look like in this space. Be welcome to come to my page. So I focused on content and being fun and being quirky and messing up. And, you know, sometimes I trip and I put it up there. You know, I want people to see that music and books, it's all art, it's all creativity, and being a creator is more important to me than so that's the most important point for me.
Yes. Love all of that. Because you two, I tell you, you two are just both so enjoyable to watch, you know, and I could tell that you do it because you love what you're doing. And I do wonder for some people who come on and they show the books, I'm like, do they really like that book? They don't necessarily look too happy about it. You know? And then, you know, when I see people, sometimes I just feel like, okay, they're showing the book because it was sent to them by the publisher and maybe they feel obligated to show it, or maybe they're getting paid to show, I don't know. But I always wonder, are they reading these books? I'm very honest to say, oh, I haven't read that book. You know, or I DNF that book, or I'm struggling with this book. I'm the first to say that, you know, but it just makes me wonder sometimes. You see people with all these books. I'm like, did they read? How'd they read all those books in a month? I don't know. But yeah. So again, I want to move into the subject of books and what we're talking about today. I want to show, for those who have come in since we started, you may be looking at us saying, what in the world do they have on and why do they look like that? Well, we're doing a bit of a cosplay tonight, and I'm going to show you our outfits. So Bridget, who is looking beautiful in red, she is representing, tell us, Bridget, again what you're representing tonight.
I'm doing all the fine ladies in red from Romance.
Yes. And Mika, this is Mika's picture here. Tell us, Mika, what you're representing.
I am representing the African-American beautiful Black women in the Old West.
Yes. And Summer, let me tell you all this, because Summer's not going to tell you. Summer made this beautiful dress she has on tonight. So Summer, tell us what you're representing tonight.
Oh, well, the idea, it looks a little bit, I look a little bit more Bridgerton, but the idea was to dress as Belinda Lacey on the cover of Rebel by Beverly Jenkins.
Fantastic.
It didn't come out quite as I wanted to.
No, listen, Summer, that you did a great job. And I'm going to share this. Summer just started this dress yesterday and it's done, and she's wearing it tonight. That is commendable.
Don't look at my seams.
That is so talented.
It was a couple of prayers and and just a love for sewing and costumes.
And I am dressed like the cover of Dread Nation by Justina Ireland. I got my little jacket and my sickle here. So that's for all of you who came in and were probably wondering what was going on. So there you have it. So now let's move in and start talking about what we all love so much, and that's books and reading. So who wants to go first and share? Let's talk about first the favorite genres. Like, I know Bridget and Summer love romance, but let's start and talk about genre here. What do you like to read, Bridget?
So I do love romance, and I love Black romance. I love the warm and cozy Black romance, but I also love mystery. And there was a period of time where I was reading mysteries back to back to back. Walter Mosley, to be specific. And of course, I love poetry. Oh my God, I like fantasy, YA fantasy. I'm a little late on the newer books out, but I'm getting to those in the summertime. I promise myself. See, I read everything, but romance is in my bag right now. Warm and fuzzy, but sometimes suspenseful. I don't know. I'm all over the place, y'all. If it's love, I'm in it. Give me somebody falling in love. I don't care what they could be. Aliens, they could be anything. I will give it a try. I want to see people be happy together. So I'm down for all of it.
Mika, what about you?
I also love a plethora of genre. My favorite is I love thrillers, hands down. I absolutely crave that twist at the end. I also love Black romance. It's so important for me to see Black love, because shown that, I'm 47, so growing up, I didn't see that on TV. So that's important to me.
Wait a minute, Bridget's doing an eye check because she's like, did she just say 47?
I've already figured
books
it out.
Behind you.
I figured it out, age? Bridget. She has in her attic
a picture.
Yes, a portrait. That's it.
I say that because I really want people to understand my love of literature and why I love it, and the importance of the time frame that I grew up in, and how I didn't see characters in books that look like me.
Yes.
That's the reason why I always say that, because I and when I say, I love those novels, those YA with characters that mirror our community, and I definitely put those in the hands of our kids.
Yeah.
I love the sci-fi with characters that are magical, or that, ride in on dragons, and because I didn't see that, and we can be great just like that as well.
Yes.
I just love it all. I love it all.
Summer,
Yeah, mine is okay. Wait, what's the question? Because I'm I want to make
Your
sure I have.
genre, what genres do you love?
Now, of course, I love romance. It helped me out of a really just stressful time. I don't even know. Oh, I was playing one of those um, apps or whatever where you could do the story, and they want you to pay for more story. And I'm like, how about I just go see what kind of books they have out now? And then I Google, because I like all my Hallmark movies and stuff like that. So I Googled, I wonder if they have a story, because it was like 20 years since I read, because I was a workaholic and all that. And I was like, well, let me Google to see if they have any Black princess books. And then I found A Princess in Theory. And the heroine was a PhD epidemiology student. I was done. I was like, yes, give me all the books, all the books. I'm on my sci-fi alien thing right now. So but I used to read mystery. I used to like Valerie Wilson Wesley and Martha Mosley, Terry McMillan. I will always be grateful for showing that you can put on the page Black people's regular lives without having to have a trauma background to it. But yeah, that's me.
So for me, I love mystery, suspense, thriller. That's my favorite. Like you said, that thriller, that twist at the end, I'm for it. I'm always the one trying to figure out what happened before I get to the end. And then sometimes I'm way off and wrong, but it still makes the book so exciting, because I was like, dang, that author did that, because they had me fooled completely. So I love that. I might read contemporary romance, a lot of literary fiction, and now with some persuasion from some of my bookstagram friends, I'm delving more into nonfiction. Usually for nonfiction, I would just read memoirs, but now I'm finding myself reading some other things. But I love reading. I don't really do a lot of sci-fi fantasy, but I'm not opposed to reading those books. For example, I have a couple of books I'm going to show tonight that normally if I saw it in the store, I wouldn't have picked it up. But I don't know what made me say, just give it a try, you might like it. Because we're talking about, our love of books and even judging books by their cover. So there's some books that I just looked at the cover and said, I want to read that, you know? So
Definitely. I found some of my favorite authors with that.
yeah, you really don't know when, a book is presented to you. And I like to read, the older I get, the more I like to what I call blind read. I don't read the synopsis for a lot of books anymore. I will pick up a book and say, I'm just gonna read it and see what it's about. Sometimes, that's a mistake, but I like the surprise of it. I do. DL says covers get me in trouble. Well, DL, what about this cover? What about this cover of the Never List? Now, I before I became acquainted with DL through Black Readers Con, I kept seeing this book posted, and I kept seeing this cover, and I kept saying that cover is gorgeous. I've got to have that book. I had no idea what it was about. I didn't know if it was romance, mystery, whatever. But I said, I have to have that book because I love this cover.
And you can tell she loves covers because she does her own covers.
Yes.
Some great covers.
Yes. And I know she's asking, when am I going to read this book? DL, I've made some promises to a couple of folks that I'm scared of. And I have to read what I promised them I was going to read first. And then I'll go back and read the Never List. Have you, Summer, I think you've read this one, haven't you?
Come on now. I've read hers a couple of times. So actually, I've only read that one once. The Guys Next Door, I've read a lot. I've read Beach Thing a couple of times. She's one of my go-to, one of my comfort rereads.
Bridget, have you read DL yet?
I have. Actually, I just ordered the book on Amazon for the physical copy because I liked it so much. I was going to dress up as that, but see, Southern California weather and turtlenecks, it couldn't happen. It couldn't happen. I was going to dress up as that book. I was going to surprise her in the turtleneck, over the face, you know, put a little Neverlist right here, but it's hot. And I was like, okay, I need to be a little bit more comfortable for the weather, so I didn't do it. But that was the one. I love that book. I was like, are you in my business? Is that what's happening in this book? Are you in my business? I want to know. I mean, I know we talk, but like, are you in my business? Is that what's happening?
Yeah, you see my costume came with a fan.
Does everybody have a fan? Look, I can't even get mine to flip tonight. There we go. What about you, Mika? Have you read DL?
Oh, yes, I have. I've read my favorite's the Kwanzaa Brunch, and I was talking about it a couple of days ago on a live that I did, and it just made me feel like I was in a Hallmark movie. You know, characters. You know, I just absolutely loved it. It made me feel giddy. It made me feel, you know, like it just caressed my love chakras. So I definitely, you know, if you get a chance to read DL, please. And I got that book coming. So I'm excited to dive into that one as well.
Karen the reader says, I was just telling DL today that I read A Guy Next Door at least 5 times. We are about neck and neck with that, Karen, because that is definitely one of my go-to rereads when I read one of these crazy books. Yellow Wife. I need to go back and reset my mind.
Okay, so Mika, you have some books you want to show us tonight?
Oh, yes, I do.
All right.
You want me to start it off?
Yeah.
Okay, well, I have several books, and I'm going to be hopping from genre to genre to genre. Now, there are some books that are on my TBR that I have not read yet that I'm really excited about reading.
Mm-hmm.
But I'm going to get into some of the books that I absolutely loved. And they are from different authors. They're back here. So this is my favorite that I read every summer. I'm not for sure if some of us know the author, and it's amazing. It's The Dark Matter. Yes.
That's such a good book.
It is an amazing book.
It's so good.
And if you have not read it by Blake Crouch, I read this every summer. And believe it or not, reading the story, it's kind of like sci-fi-ish. And it has suspense and drama. The plot is just, it pulls you in. But when you read it, you will finally figure out that it's actually really a love story. Because what the characters...
I've heard
now you're making me want to go back and read it again. It is. You know what? It is. It is. Okay. It is.
So this is this is in my top 5. This is absolutely, it'll keep you engaged. You can read this in an actual setting. It is that amazing. So if you get a chance, definitely read it. Dark Matter by Blake Crouch.
Yeah. Yes. That one.
Is it romantic drama or romance?
Yeah, Summer. You would like it. Okay. I think you would like it. It's not going to be like what you experienced with Yellow Wife.
Okay.
So yes, I think you would really like this, especially the romance part of this story. So
well, yeah, I do love sci-fi romance now, and I'm looking for all the Black sci-fi romance that I could find.
So DL is asking the question, have y'all read Recursion? I told Blake it broke my brain. I have not read that one.
I have, and it is absolutely phenomenal. Blake is one of those type of authors that, like with this new one, Upgrade, every turn of the page, it was actually a twist. So every chapter, it was a twist. So I absolutely love that. Blake is engaged with his characters. They're developed. They seem as if I felt like I was watching a literal action movie. Recursion is phenomenal. Please, if you get a chance to read that one as well, that is absolutely amazing.
Okay. All right. I definitely will check that one out. Go ahead. Keep going.
twice because I like to talk.
Go ahead.
So my next one, this is an absolute favorite. We're actually going to be rereading this one for the summer. Native Son, and I actually read this under my first time reading it was in undergrad. And this changed the course of reading for me as an analytical reader. So yes, absolutely. It is a phenomenal book. It has a lot of symbolism. It has a lot of metaphors. It has so many things that you could just break down and mirror or do a text connection with what's going on in the world today, what has gone on in the world 20 years and beyond. This book changed my life as an academic teacher. So I highly recommend this one as well.
And I want
Dr. Raymond approves too.
Yeah. Now I want to read with you this summer. I know you're reading it in July, so I'm gonna try to. Like I said, I have another book I'm supposed to be reading. Summer and I are reading that Raymond and Gracia have encouraged us to read. But I've had Native Son for many years and I haven't read it, so I really want to delve into that one. Bridget, what do you think about Native Son? I saw you smiling and happy about it.
My little Afro-American lit professor heart is just like bursting because I read Native Son when I was really young. I didn't understand what I was reading at all. I didn't get what was happening. And I kept reading it. And then as an adult, I understood it more. And then teaching it made me have a different level of understanding about it. Reading the critical essays, James Baldwin's critique, like all that, like just opened the world up. Like that was a monumental book. People do not give it the contemporary respect that it deserves because it broke that thing open for Black writers. Okay, clearly we know that, but we don't always go back and like give it the proper respect it's due for what it was in its time and what it still is today. So my little heart was just like, oh yes, please talk about. I'm going to read the book with you again. I'm going to read it again with you. In July. I'm down.
So anyone who is watching, if you have not read Native Son or if you want to reread, please follow the Reading Room 444 on Instagram so that we can figure out when Mika's going to start the read along and all of us can join in and participate and read this book. And I want to say this too, as a slow reader, you can start with the group, and even if you don't finish with the group, it doesn't mean that you can't finish the book. Take your time and read it at your own pace, but start the book, right? So that's what I'm going to do. And I just think that Richard Wright is a phenomenal writer. I love Black Boy. That was just, it was just so good. And that's why I got Native Son. I said, okay, I've read that. And now I have to get Native Son. And then I also got, I've got a couple of more of his books like this one, 8 Men. I have no idea what this is about. And this is just a cover by because it was Richard Wright. And then I have another book of his, The Outsider. I haven't read that one yet either. But again, that one book, Black Boy, made me want to purchase his work. So Bridget, I know that, I also read The Man Who Lived Underground by Richard Wright, which came out last year. I have that one too, Raymond. And I started that book. I didn't finish it, not because I didn't like it, but because I started reading something else and then just didn't go back to it. But I hope to get back to that one. Have any of you read that one? The Man Who Lived
I haven't, but I bought it.
Okay.
I bought it, but I haven't read it yet. Hopefully I can read it this summer because I want to teach it because I've heard so many great things about it. I'm like, okay, so I need to read this, read books around it, how I make a class that we can talk about this book in that class. That's how I start with one book. And I'm like, okay, what do I want to do? But I've been saving it until I know I can teach it. So I've been pushing it. This summer, I'm going to read it.
Okay. So Bridget, I know you said you, most of your books are on your iPad. So what books do you want to share with us?
So right now, of course, reading a lot of romance, but if I take it back, my very favorite book probably in the world is Jazz by Toni Morrison. And I try to, if not reread the entire thing every year, just go back and like spot read the parts that I think are the most beautiful in the story. She has a section where she talks about the weather in 1946 Harlem. It's called Sweetheart Weather. It has nothing. The characters are there, whatever. But the way she talks about the Black people existing in Harlem during that time, it's just too beautiful. And we all know Toni Morrison is just like, she just does it, right? But moving forward, I've been rereading all of August Wilson's plays from the Pittsburgh cycle because I realized I hadn't read them with intention before, and like really looking at like what he was doing by building out a thing that covered a century of time of Black people living in a place over a century. Like that is amazing. Like I don't even know how he decided to do this, and then he did it, and then he was gone, and we didn't get a chance to tell him like thank you.
Yeah,
like really say thank you for what you did for this. So I've been rereading those with intention. But on the romance scene, anything that Christina C. Jones publishes, I'm buying it. Take the coin, boom. I bought a hardback. I'm on a no-buy romance physical book, and I bought this because I said, first of all, you broke me up all difficult. The book just wore me out. Okay.
What is it? What is
this
it?
Is No Longer Afraid.
Don't talk about it. I still got to read. I'm waiting to read both of them. Okay.
But it had me in my feelings. Okay. And I said, okay, I had to have this book in my possession. Like, so when I read it again, I could throw it. You know, like, so when I read it, I can just toss it. I got this in ebook, audiobook, and now physical copy. But anything that she writes, I buy it like automatically. So listen, anything. Literally, she could say, here's a note to my daughter's teacher. I'm going to publish it on Kindle Unlimited. Would you like to read it? Yes, I would. Will Wesley Shaban be narrating it?
Yeah, then she puts it on audiobook. So then you have to have the ebook and then the audiobook off of her website.
Yes, I need all copies of it. I need to cover all the bases. Give me everything. So yeah, anything that she publishes, I'm down. And that's kind of like my gateway to other romance too, because Amazon will be like, so you read this book. Have you heard of these other people? I'm like, I haven't. Let's take a look. And so she was my gateway into a lot of Black indie romance because she had such a great backlog, but there are so many other authors, like her homies, her friends, people she talks about. I'm like, okay, Alexandria House, I'm down. Alexandra Warren, let's go. Okay, what's going on over here? She just opened up the world for me, and her books are good. So I feel good supporting her at every level. Patreon, everything. She gets all my coins. Once a month, she gets my coins, no matter what.
So Karen, the reader, says, No Longer Afraid will turn you into a whole savage.
You know,
I was ready
Christina C. Jones is one of the people,
right.
like Christina C. Jones, Daniel Allen, D.L. White too. It's like where I have an issue when people call romance smut because it has so much substance with the love story. And yeah, it got sexy times, but it has so much substance. It will make you think. And so it's like, yeah, you can't, all romance does not equal smut.
And there's a time for smut, right?
I enjoy my smut. I'm reading my Blue Aliens right now, and I'm enjoying them.
But there's a time for good story too, and they deliver every time.
Okay. You have any more, Bridget?
I have to mention poetry because what kind of poet am I if I don't mention poetry? Bridget, get your act together. Right now, I'm really obsessed with young adult novels written in verse, which means they're novels written in poetry. So Candace Elo has a book out called Everybody Looking. I've been teaching it for this school year, and I grow more and more in love with it as the days go by. And they have another book coming out called Break This House, which is also a novel written in verse. If I'm not mistaken, it's coming out, I think, end of this month, maybe beginning of June. They're touring right now, which they self-promoted to get people to fund the tour, because if you're like a number one, National Book Award finalist type author, you would think people want to give you money. And yet the coffers are bare, so like what's happening there? Wow. So I want to support them however I can. Jason Reynolds also has a great couple of books, Long Way Down, novel written in verse. Elizabeth Acevedo also, like I'm into that. And then also just Black women poets from all over. I have a friend right now today in San Diego opening for Rupi Kaur. Her name is Jessica Gallion. She's a local LA poet, has a book out called Can't Own a Woman Like Me. It's beautiful. It's amazing. And I'm so proud of her. She's going to be in the stadium by herself one of these days, but she's opening right now. So I'm into everything. I don't know why I'm reading so much at the time, but maybe one day when my brain slows down, I could really make a great itemized list. But no, I'm reading whatever comes across the page, which is why my TBR is so daggone long. Y'all made it longer just now. I'm like, okay, so incursion. Okay, let me go ahead and add that to the list.
So, considering that you've written your own poetry collection, Be Trouble, which is available now for the getting, which, just I love watching you perform on your I'm like, wow. Okay. But have you considered writing a novel in verse or short story in verse? Since I'm just, you know.
So let me tell you. Okay, some people know this because they were peer pressuring me in my DMs. Last winter, over a 3-day period, I started writing short stories. In my mind, they were short stories. They ended up being 30,000 words. That's not short to me. I don't know whose words those are. They came out of this place right here. I don't know who came in and gave those to me. So I have considered writing more narrative type pieces. Novels written in verse, I think, are gorgeous and amazing projects that I don't have. Let me stop lying. I could write one if I stop playing around. You know what I'm saying? But for right now, I try to keep them to the poem. Like, okay, this is just one little story in the poem. Here you go. But I have been trying to write. I know DL is a novella. I know, child. Okay, I've been writing. I wrote a novella, but I'm hoping to get better at that. And so maybe one day I could publish something of that magnitude. But for right now, it's just me and my little poems, maybe 3 pages a piece, if they're that long in the book. But one day, hopefully, one day.
Okay. Okay, Mika, what else you got? I know you got some vampire novels over there.
I do. I just read one and it was my absolute favorite. And it did not, and I talked about this on my page, it did not read like a vampire novel. The writing was very witty, was very commanding. It is Empire of the Vampire. And it is absolutely phenomenal. She's thick.
That's the 700-page one?
Yes, this is the 700 vampire page book. Yes. But it is absolutely amazing. It will keep you engaged, engulfed. You get a true story about a character who is trying to save humanity because the world has gone into darkness, and this is when the vampires are just really taking over, and they are these appointed or special people to hunt down these vampires to try to regain the humanity and safety for the humans that are not vampires. This is absolutely amazing. It does have graphics in it. I spent like a whole night pacing back and forth. I switch sometimes from audio to book or to Kindle. Listen to the audio. I was literally pacing in my kitchen because the characters were going through this journey. They were dying. It was a big fight. I didn't know who was going to survive. People were treacherous, and it ended with a twist, girl.
Oh, wow. So hold the cover up again. I know Raymond's talking about 700 vampire American pages, but whatever, Raymond. So Empire of the Vampire by Jay Kristoff. Yes, that cover is gorgeous, DL.
The artwork inside, I'm going to show.
Oh, wow. Real scary.
It's not scary. It's really engaging. It's very, very good. I did a buddy read with a group of people with this novel, and every single person in that buddy read loved it.
I think the only vampire novel I've read, and I don't think I knew it was a vampire novel when I started, was Dark Corner by Brendan Massey.
Oh, yes.
Yeah. The only issue I had with that book was I wanted to get to know the main character. What was his name? David, I think. I wanted to spend more time with him, but we spent time with some of those other people. I was like, get back to the main character. I want to know a little bit more about him. But I love that book. Brendan Massey, yeah, I'm a fan. I like his work. That one, Dark Corner. What are some of the other ones? Don't Ever Tell or something like that. But I went through a Brendan Massey phase where I was just reading his books one after the other. And that's his books are normally not my genre and what I read. But again, I just took a chance. I said, oh, Black author. I like the cover. I'm going to read it and see what happens. And so, yeah, he's got some good books out there. I'll show a couple of mine. So this one was an actual cover read for me. Dread Nation. You know how I'm dressed tonight. I didn't know what it was about at first, I don't think. But once I found out it was about zombies, I was like, oh, I'm all in. Because I love zombies. I'm a zombie girl. I have seen every episode of The Walking Dead since it debuted. That's me. And if a zombie movie comes out, I'm your girl. Another book that I love the cover, but I know this book was one of the most polarizing books ever. We're not going to talk about if we liked it or if we didn't. I'm just going to say the cover's beautiful. Queenie by Candace Carty Williams. We saw this cover posted everywhere, right? Everywhere. And then people either hated it or loved it. We'll just leave it at that.
I'll show a few because I have to go run.
Okay, yes, Summer. Yes, please show us some before you leave.
So here's Made to Love. This is one of my favorites by Alexandria House. I don't know if it's because the woman is like almost 6 feet like I am. Last week when we were talking about poetry and I was telling you about the character who has a poetry book, it's from that book.
Okay.
Alexandra Warren is another one, but she does a lot of novellas, and I love them. This is the Building 402 series. Displacement is the last one.
Wait a minute, you went too fast. What was the name of it?
Displacement by Alexandra Warren. It's I think a 4-book novella series.
Okay.
Work Song by Daniel Allen. Anything by Daniel Allen. And then A Princess in Theory is what started all the romance madness by Alyssa Cole. And then Niobe O'Brien, love her. This book, I think, it's 20 years old. My actual one is not 20 years old, but it was written like 20 years ago. And It's just great. That one is a heavily match. But she has the Strong Brothers series, Strong Family series, which she writes a novella every year just for her fans to add on to the series. I mean, you got to love when authors love this. And then, of course, Beverly Jenkins is Forbidden. It's Old West like Mika is wearing. And so I'll see you guys in the comments.
Okay, Summer. Well, have a good time, okay?
Thank you.
So this book I picked up years ago, Ruined by D.E. Eliot, because I love the cover. I'm like, ruined. Okay, what was ruined? Who ruined it? Why they ruined it? So, that was a cover by, I still haven't read this one yet. It's been on my shelf for a while. I call myself a book collector more than a reader these days. Another book that many people have already read, but the cover is what draws you in and really wants to make you read this book. And it is The Darkest Child by Dolores Phillips. Have you all read this book? You haven't read it, Mika? You've read it?
I haven't read it, but I have that book because of the cover. Because I thought, okay, that is so striking, like, especially in hardback, it's like the texture of the image is so beautiful.
And what's funny is that I saw this exact same cover for another novel, the same picture, same girl, everything. And I can't remember what the name of that book is, but it's the exact same thing. And I was like, how did that happen? I don't know. Let's see. Another book, where is it? That I read just because of the cover. And this book was so heartbreaking to me. It is a true life story. And you know how you read a book and you just want to scream at the character because of the decisions that they're making. But then you realize this is someone's true life and what they went through and her experience. And it's just so sad, but it's a good book. And it's called Gal, and it's by Ruthie Bolton. And this cover, when I saw that, I said, okay, I really need to know this story. What happened to her? And her childhood was so traumatic. And it led her to making very poor decisions as she got older. But oh, the book is just so gripping, and you just really, really feel for her. Another book that when you look at the cover, you think you know the story, but if you're familiar with the author, then you know the real story. And that's this cover from Invisible Life by Elin Harris. You think you know what this means, but you don't know what that means. you don't know. So Mika, I know you got some more.
Yes, I do. This one right here. Now, this is not a cover per se, but a favorite read. This is also in my top 10, and it took me 3 years to read this because I started it, and it was so gripping when I first started it that I wasn't ready for it. And I set it down for 2 years. And then I went back, picked it up, and then I was ready to read it. But the book is so phenomenal because it was written so long ago, but it mirrors a lot of stuff that we are experiencing today.
Yes.
How prophetic is that for an author, especially of this author's caliber?
Yeah.
Time where people really weren't into this type of work from this particular author because she was a Black author. Write this, and then some odd years later, we are living majority of this experience. Like, I'm blown away. So this is why A Parable of the Sower, Octavia Butler, is in my top 10.
And then to read the book and to see the line "Make America Great Again," you're like, wait a minute, what? What, Octavia? What? It made me really start thinking about Lauren, and it had me questioning my survival skills. And I was thinking, if something happened, can I take care of myself? I would have to be with a group because I wouldn't make it on my, that book really, really makes you think. It really does. Excellent. Excellent. So Bridget, I know you got some more to share with us.
Yes. So here is the cover for a short story collection by an author named Chris Stuck. It's called Give My Love to the Savages. I just thought it's like a line drawing. It's gold. It's pink. It's all the purple. It's all this. I didn't even know what the heck he was talking about, and I just bought the book. Amazon has my credit card number, clearly. Okay, so I test all the time to make sure it still works. And so I saw this cover, and I was like, okay, I don't know what he's talking about, but I want it. And the stories are so poignant and profound and talk about identity, kind of break things up. They're funny in a darkly humorous way. And I'm like, okay, let me get into this. And I love the stories enough to, I teach a couple of them from the book to my students as well, because I think they can relate to what the characters are going through. And the cover, they just like the cover. They're like, that cover seems like something that they've seen online before, which is attractive to them. And they're drawn to it more so than maybe my cover beloved, for Toni Morrison. They're like, I don't know. I've seen that book before my grandma's bookshelf. They don't really pay attention.
Yeah.
I'm gonna work them into it though. The other cover that actually inspired today's look is Real by Kennedy Ryan. She's wearing this beautiful, gorgeous red dress. It's a poignant moment in the piece. But more than anything, it's two Black people looking at each other in love. And there's nothing else about it. It's like, I see you, you are gorgeous. I'm gorgeous, clearly. And I think I'm falling in love with you in an old Hollywood way, which we don't often see. Us in an old Hollywood way falling in love, right? So, and then the last cover is a young adult novel with a plus size girl. And I wish y'all could see it. It's so good. It's Love is a Revolution by Renee Watson, a plus size heroine in a young adult novel. I wish when I was a child, I had seen something like this. There's no trauma. She's just likes a boy, maybe. Okay. Got my hair braided. I'm cute, clearly. Like, she's just having a regular, she does have things about her life that are different, but it's like, but this is just my summer I'm spending and getting to know my friends and hanging out and, riding the subway and doing whatever. I wish I'd had that as a child, so that cover, when I saw it again, I just bought it. I was like, young adult novel, I don't care. She's a thick snack, Black girl. I need to know what she's talking about.
Yeah.
Period. That's it,
Yeah.
right? And there's no nothing in there that necessarily makes me cry in the, oh my gosh, stop treating her this way. It's more so it makes me cry because I know this girl because I was that girl, that kind of feeling. So beautiful piece. Yeah, those are 3 covers that got me, and I didn't care what the synopsis said. Let me just read this thing and see what's happening. That was me.
Okay. Mika.
All right, so I'm getting into the TBR, or what I want to read. I haven't read this yet. Now I'm actually physically reading this one. It's The Marvellers by Daniel Clayton, and this is just recently pubbed. And if you notice, I already got the going. So I plan on, this is my plan. Next year, I should be teaching 6th grade. So to teach this as an analytical study, because it has a lot of things going on with the characters that students can relate to. The characters mirror their community. It has a Black girl on the front that heroine of the story that goes through, that has the magic, which I absolutely phenomenal. I mean, I love that. And so what I'm doing is I'm going through and picking out the conflicts, the foreshadowing, and so forth. So the Absolutes cover is beautiful, and I want to try to recreate this cover on my own.
Oh,
yes.
I love that. Go ahead. You got some more, or you want me to go? Okay. Let's see. Now this cover right here. So Raymond, I'm not going to get into a whole thing with you about this subject right now, but this book is called Douglas's Women, and it is about Frederick Douglass. And my book club read this book, and the book, she did such a great job with this book that I have had this hang up about Frederick Douglass ever since I read this book. But I love the book. It is excellent writing. But the thing about the cover that made me mad, they got Frederick Douglass back here in the picture of his Black wife. The 2 of them are right there in the background. And then his other wife is right here that takes up half of the front of the cover. And I was like, really? How come she couldn't be in the little picture frame and Freddie and his other wife here? But don't let that stop y'all from reading this book. This book is excellent. Jewel Parker Rhodes did a great job in her telling Frederick Douglass's story, from her imagination. It's really good. And I'm not much of a romance reader, although I will dip into romance. And so I've got books here by Sharice Hodges. This one, Just Can't Get Enough. Now that cover right there got me going. I said, yeah, I think I can read that. And then this one right here, More Than He Can Handle. So I was like, okay, yeah, I can dip my toe into the romance pool once in a while and read some romance. Now, I'm not much of a fantasy reader, but I just could not help when this book came out to pick it up and read it. Well, actually, I started it out on audio and I loved it so much I said, I have to have this book. But this isn't a book that I would normally gravitate to. But when I saw the cover online, I said, oh, I'm all in. I don't even care what it's about. I'm all in. And that was Children of Blood and Bone. I just love the cover of this book. And then I said, well, I got to get the second one too. So I haven't read this one yet, but I know that there's a third one coming, and I hope that when y'all know sometimes they mess it up when another book comes out and it doesn't look like the ones that other one better look like these. That's all I'm saying. Don't mess it up. Now here's a book that I think that most every Black girl could relate to when they saw this cover, whether or not they knew it was poetry. When they saw the cover, they were like, okay, yeah, I gotta read it. Black Girl Call Home by Jasmine Mans. Those hair bows did it. They did it. But yeah, those are a few more I wanted to show. Okay, so Bridget, what you got?
First of all, Jasmine Mans is the GOAT. Just want to say that. If you don't know, now you know. Get into it. Okay. That book, her videos, whatever. Just don't miss out on your blessing. Okay. Get into Jasmine Mans. I'm just saying. So my friend told me to turn my brightness down and y'all could be able to see the cover. So we're gonna see if she's lying to me or not. We're gonna see if that's true. Okay. Okay, lightly true. Okay, I'm a sucker for a cartoon cover in a romance because they remind me of the books that I snuck from my parents' bookshelf back in the day, the EJD, the Terry McMillan. They all had like cartoon-esque covers. And so this is Chinsia Higgins, Devon, and Chris Plan a Wedding. This cover got me because I bought it because it was pretty. I mean, honestly, it's a chocolate wedding cake. I'm like, okay, I'm down, whatever's happening here. I didn't realize it was a queer romance, and I was looking for queer romance, and it just stumbled across my ads for Instagram, and I was like, okay, I'm going to buy it. And it made me cry. I read it in the morning. I was up for no reason, and I was reading the book like, this is the sweetest thing. Why is this so daggone sweet? You know, and the cover really, the sweetness of the cover matches the story is what I'll say. And I was like, okay, so you won me over. I haven't read this book yet. It's a young adult novel called Charming as a Verb by Ben Philippe. And it's just two beautiful Black children, teenagers, walking down the street in New York, looking happy, excited. It's a bright sky. It isn't dark. And oh my gosh, what's going to happen to these children? We're afraid for them. Like, no, they're just charming. And it really fits. So I can't wait to read that one. And then the last one here is another young adult novel, Chlorine Sky, by Mahogany Brown. It is written in verse. Once again, I'm trying my best. I'm studying up. Mahogany Brown is literally probably one of the greatest poets I've ever heard in my life. And so for her to write a book, a novel in verse, I'm all in. If you've never heard her or seen her, YouTube it and get your blessing, okay? Because she is amazing. I wish I could like reach her level of confidence in the way that she reads and what she presents and how she speaks and asks questions and all that kind of stuff. But yeah, cartoon covers get me every time. Give me a cute little brown cartoon, happy, joyous, bright colors. I'm a kindergartner at heart. That's what I want. But I want to mention the cover you showed of the torso of the young chocolate fellow looking all greased up and delicious. Somebody had the nerve on Twitter the other day to say like, oh, can you all make, mommy friendly covers where there's not, naked men on the cover. And I don't want my kids to see that. And, people that wrote really great romance were responding like, no, here is the cover. The man is naked, he's gorgeous, and you're a grown up, so put a book cover on it, right? Basically. And I remember Beverly Jenkins like commented like, look at all my gorgeous torsos, like, look at my bevy of beauties, basically. And I was like, that's right, let them know, okay? This is romance. We get, listen, bodies are bodies.
Yes.
Y'all, okay? And the body is a beautiful thing to look at, to gaze upon, and then, read about, but also gaze upon. It's a beautiful time. Yeah, give me all the naked men, please. Okay. I like my cartoons, but give me a couple of greased up torsos. I'm not mad at you. Look at that. Come on now. I'm not mad at all.
What's that, Mika? What you showing us? Thank you. That's nice. Come on off mute and tell us the name of that book.
Oh, girl, this is. And I'm gonna tell y'all first. I get into this, you got to be really ready to read when you get up this one, okay? Listen, this is grown folk, so if you get over here, exactly right there. This is Harbor. This is an absolutely phenomenal book. It's by Rebecca Witherspoon. When you get in this book, you will not want to put it down. This is grown folk business at grown folk midnight hour. So
okay,
can't handle grown folk business at grown folk midnight hour. Don't pick this up.
I think that's the quote of the night.
I'm just saying. I'm trying to help the people out. So, but this is really good. The cover is absolutely beautiful. It's phenomenal. When I saw the cover, I was like, oh, I wonder what this is about.
Yeah.
This is really good. It starts off, when you first started, it's like, you feel like it's a suspense thriller because you have to figure out some things that's going on. And I believe it, girl, listen,
every time you take pictures and do video, the cat wants to be in it. I'm trying to tell you.
And I can't, I mean, like, I'm sorry, y'all. And so she's gonna knock my books down. So please, if you get a chance and you want to read something that's really intriguing, it starts off as a thriller and then it gets into the grown folkish things. Dive on in immediately. This can be a standalone. I know there's some other characters mentioned from previous books, but this, you can read this as a standalone itself.
Okay. Harbor, Rebecca Weatherspoon. Okay. And just to let everyone know who's watching, you can always come back to Facebook and YouTube and do a replay of the video so that you can capture all of the titles that are mentioned in our live session tonight. If you have not already subscribed to the Black Readers Con YouTube channel, you need to go ahead and do that, because once we get to 100 subscribers, there may be a giveaway. Okay? So you need to subscribe. You need to tell your friends to subscribe. Everybody needs to subscribe, because you never know, in the future there could be exclusive content for Black Readers Con that ends up on the YouTube channel and you won't want to miss it. Okay? But I know I'm definitely going to replay the video so that I can make a list of all the books that are mentioned tonight. Like I said, I'm not opposed to dipping my toe into romance. So I think I'm going to be doing some toe dipping after seeing some of these covers. Okay, let's see. Raymond's talking about the cat. I think Minnie was a human in a previous life. Minnie wants to be on camera. So I want to give an opportunity now for anybody who is watching to put any questions you may have for our guests in the comments as we're talking about these books. If you have any questions about them being educators and teaching about reading and how they influence their students, if you have any questions about the books that they've read, Bridget, I do want you to talk a little bit about We Be Reading Wednesdays so that people know what you're doing over there on your channel on Wednesday nights.
Thank you. Yes. So every Wednesday when I'm not taking a break, which I promise, no more breaks. I'm locked in. Okay. I was just tired, y'all. The semester got me. I got tenure. I was a little bit exhausted. I had to take a second to take a break. But every Wednesday night, you can tune in. Check out my Instagram for We Be Reading Wednesdays, where I talk about romance reads that I've read. I might do a full series and one review, which, Lord help. Okay, I only get 10 minutes. Or I might go live and we can talk about it all together for about an hour, because, you know, not a book reviewer, but I do talk a lot. But that is my little series. I started during the pandemic. I needed something to read that was making me happy. A lot like Summer was mentioning, I was playing this game on my phone that was like a story game. I ran out of jewels for all the juicy bits, and I said, no, wait a minute. I can read the book for cheaper. You play games. Like, you want $1 for the jewel? I could have bought the book for $3. Okay. And so once I started doing that, my friend was like, yeah, you be reading. I'm like, I do be reading. Mm-hmm. We be reading. And that's where it came from, literally. So that's every Wednesday. And exclusively for y'all to know, people that are local to Los Angeles, there might be a real in-person book situation happening also on Wednesday nights, coming to you soon by way of a very beautiful, wonderful new local Black woman-owned bookstore in the Inglewood area. So keep following me so you can find out and be there, okay? Don't miss it. Don't miss it.
And what time is We Be Reading?
We Be Reading goes up. Wait, my bangs are banging. Hold on now. But We Be Reading goes up Wednesdays at around 2 if I'm not like having Wi-Fi issues. But the lives happen usually at the end of the month at 6:30 PST. I know it's late for my East Coast babies. but your girl got to get off work first. So give me a second to get my bearings from Zoom to get to the live. I might move it up in the summertime, but yeah. So every Wednesday at about 2:00, check the page out and you'll see the review.
Okay. And where can people get Be Trouble?
Thank you for mentioning Be Trouble. It's like my invisible friend that people can see. Like, y'all can see her too. Y'all talk to her as well. I thought it was just me and her. Be Trouble, my book of poetry, was published 2020, right before the pandemic. So I didn't get a chance to tour it or anything like that. But it is available online, Amazon.com, BarnesandNoble.com, but also at your favorite local bookseller. Here in Los Angeles, Esselwan Books online, the Salt Eaters Bookshop, Reparations Club. They have it. Other smaller bookstores like Skylight, Chevalier's, Last Bookstore. You can order online through them. A couple of them have it in stock, but they only stock like 2 poetry books at a time. I recognize the bias. You know what I'm saying? We're not novels. I get it. But order online, okay? And wherever you buy it, I'm happy to see it. And ask for your library to get it too, if you can. I mean, it is available to get. And if you want to teach this book, let your girl know. I'll come to your class and talk to them about poetry.
Ooh.
So holla at your girl. Okay. But yeah, anywhere books are sold, you can find Be Trouble.
All right. So Raymond has a question, and Mika, I'll toss this one to you first. So what book might people be surprised to find on your bookshelf?
What mine, June. And I don't know, it just jumped in my head. It's a space opera, but I fell in love with the made-for-TV movie when it first appeared, and I think I was like 12 or something and I snuck and watched it, and because of that, I read it, and it is absolutely amazing. It got me into that sci-fi space opera world. I try to, as much as I can, pick it up. I think it's over 800 and some odd pages or something. It's a thick one too as well. But I think people would be surprised that's on my shelf. That's the only one that popped in my head. So,
you know what I love about us? I love the fact that we are so diverse within our own community, and that we all read so many different things, that we're not all, I hate when I go into stores and they have urban fiction. And to me, urban fiction means one thing. Like, you got Victoria Christopher Murray in the urban fiction section. To me, that's not urban fiction to me, right? I'm like, what? But I love the fact that we all love so many different things. And to me, that's what makes the book community so interesting. Because if we all read the same books and all liked the same books, it would be so boring. And I love the fact that, I can sit and hear the two of you and Summer talk so passionately about the types of books that you like to read that I haven't read yet, haven't dipped my toe over there yet. But it's so interesting. It makes me want to read it, Like, I'm thinking about that Rebecca Weatherspoon book, and I'm thinking, I need to read that. So that's what I love about our community. I love the diversity within the book community and the Black book community. And, and also in our ages. Okay, I know you mentioned that, Mika, when you say, I'm 47 years old, when, I'm 51 years old, so yes, Bridget, I'm 51. So, and I have to remember when I'm on Bookstagram and people are talking about different things, I'm like, oh yeah, I'm the auntie in the room, that kind of thing. And I just have to remember, because, we think differently. When I look at the younger ones and some of the things that they read, or some of the things they say, I'm like, well, don't they remember so-and-so? And I'm like, no, they don't remember, because they weren't born yet. Yeah. So, but I love the diversity of our community. And I love, you know what I also love? I love finding more and more Black male bookstagrammers. I get so excited when I see them. I just found two the other day and I was like, what where they been? You know, they've been there. I've just not seen them because of the stupid algorithm. But I was just so glad to find them. I said, yes, it's wonderful seeing more Black men out there sharing their love of reading online. Yeah. And so I love this deal says, yes, on the Black men's that be reading. Yes. Yes. And I want them to continue to share more. And I would love to see them do more lives and interacting more with a lot of people so that we know that they're there, you know you know and Teresa is saying, I love the diversity of reading too. Yeah, we all don't have to read the same thing and like the same thing, and there's nothing wrong with trying something new and something different. So I'm going to ask you ladies, do you have any other books for us? And I'm going to ask our viewing audience if they have any other questions.
I'll go ahead and throw a couple out there because we just mentioned Rebecca Weatherspoon. She has right now an Audible exclusive, and I'm forgetting the name of it. My goodness, I don't have it in front of me. But it's about first of all, another thick snack heroine. So I'm already in, okay, and a thick snack hero. Okay, we don't get those either. Biodiversity is really important, okay, especially in the romance community. And it's a beautiful, sweet, short read. I've been going all in on her book. So yes, Harbor got me. Okay, listen, put the kids to bed. Okay. But also another collection she has that's almost like completely different is Cowboys of California, which is about the Pleasant brothers. There's 3 books in the series. They're all very different. Each brother's very different. And they're actually takes on fairy tales, which I don't know why my little critical mind did not catch that the first time around. I don't know what, I was so caught up in the lusciousness of the characters, beauty and language, that I missed the fairy tale part about it. But that really made me want to read more cowboy romance. And so now I'm going to start stalking Mika's page because I need to look into more Old West romance because I'm in the contemporary cowboys. I need to take myself back in time to like the Bass Reeves era of the West and dig in there. But yeah, I want to just drop those. She is amazing. And of course, Alexandria House. When I think torsos, I think of the McLean Brothers series, gorgeous torsos, beautiful, beautiful gowns. And I also love them boys. Like I'm like, I can't see a torso without seeing those torsos. She get black and white torsos, nice rich chocolate torsos with tattoos. And the stories are hidden. I mean, that's literally like the torsos lure you in. Do you stay for the story? Because they're really just enjoyable. So those 2 authors, I got to just put them out there. If they publish, I'm reading it. That's it. Amazon has all my numbers. Clearly, I can get the books and directly from the author too to make sure they get that coin direct.
So, what are some other series that you like? For me or for Mika? I feel like I've been talking a lot. I'm going to ask Mika too. Thank you. Okay, I'm not a book reviewer, but I do talk a lot. Jacinta Howard's series, the Prototype series, is a new adult. Excuse me. Let me start over. It's a new adult series, which is different from young adult. I'm learning. The kids taught me this in my class, and it takes place as these students. They're in a band. It's playing alternative R&B, and you would think they would get that teasing that we hear about of Black folks who do things that aren't the Black thing to do, quote unquote. We realize we're not a monolith, right? And these kids in this story are not a monolith, and they are talented, and it's fun. A little bit heavy on the trauma sometimes because they are going through some young adult, growing pains. But that series, I am in love with. I keep re-listening to the audiobooks over and over again. I'm stuck on them to the fact that I was like, where can I find this band in real life, though? I know y'all are in the book, but can you assemble some people together and just give me a little soundtrack of them just playing the songs the way that you describe them? Because I want to be in the bar. I want to listen to this music. So that's a series that I really love. I'm all in on the Prototype. She releases another epilogue little at the end called The Love Below. And I was like, thank you. I'll take that in audiobook and ebook. Lovely. Incredible. Mika, what about you?
I have several series that I absolutely love and several by CCJ. CCJ is just phenomenal. Bridget was talking about her. She is definitely an auto buy and auto read. The first one, I love the Serendipitous series. I just love how yes, she just does her I love how she makes her men vulnerable,
Mm.
not in a way that is unattractive. And I love
Ooh.
makes her women vulnerable, but not
Mhm.
in a way where they're needy.
Oh,
Yeah,
okay.
the characters just showcase love. They do have their trials and tribulations, but they help each other love, develop, and grow. And I love what
Mhm.
Jay does with her character. And that Serendipitous series is phenomenal. That's one of the series. The other one I like is the what is it called? The On the Clock series by Shay Sanders.
Okay.
That took me out. When you get to cash, you just be ready. That's all I can say. When you get to cash in that series, that's a good series. I like the Inevitable series. That's another CCJ. My favorite one, Inevitable, the Steve, however you want to say it, Foster took me out. That's my man. That's my husband.
Mm.
So that's another series that I like. Them Boys. You choose my baby daddy if y'all don't understand. So read Them Boys, that they're absolutely phenomenal. So there are several series that are, and these will have you engulfed. You would not want to put them down. Just get these series if you just want to sit. Like this summer, if you have time, read the series.
Okay. Now,
Mhm.
see, and I'm really going to have to check into these now because Bridget's over there clapping, and DL and everybody. So yeah, I'm late, but yeah, I need to get there. And DL says the best opening line of a book ever in Inevitable Seduction. So it's probably not one we can say here on the live, but I'm intrigued. I am. So let me ask you this. I was just thinking about this. So I have twin nephews that are 13 years old, and they love to read. One of them just read Stamped. I gave that to them for Christmas, and he just finished that one. The other one was that child who my sister would say, somebody's awake, and she would go upstairs and she'd look in the bedroom, he's not in bed. She's like, well, where is he? He's in the bathroom with a flashlight reading a book. That was you. And he was like 7, 8 years old doing that. And so now they're 13 and they're advanced readers. So the middle grade books, they read those and they enjoy them, but it seems like they're ready to move on to some other books. But one issue my sister has is content. She doesn't want them reading a lot of profanity and things of that nature. She's not ready for them to go there at their age. So are there authors, are there books that are um I don't know if there an in between middle grade and YA. I don't know if there is. Mika, do you have any books you can think of or authors?
I do. Jason Reynolds. But you have to make sure that you're picking, because I know your sister's kind of lenient, wants to be lenient on
Yeah.
um the drama. I'm gonna say, for lack of a term right now, but his Ghost series is absolutely phenomenal.
Okay.
Definitely have them, and I think it's about 4 or 5 in that series. And it's between, and it does have um some things that the kids go through, but it's not traumatic.
Okay.
So I would definitely suggest reading those. I know whenever my kids in the classroom, especially my African American boys, kind of get stuck or really don't want to buy into the reading, I always put Dear Martin in their hand. You're gonna vet that first before she gives it to her.
Okay.
That also any Nick Stone, like I also the kids love The Jackpot. That was really good. But as I said before, just make sure that your sister vets, because always you have to know your reader. May be more advanced than other kids. Some kids can handle things than other kids can't. So just vet before you put it in the hands. But I know those three, for me, are that go between the middle grades and the YA. And I can look for a couple of other more to recommend. But those are those are my go-to for my kids. If they're they don't want to peruse the books that I have in my classroom, or they don't want to read today, I give them Dear Martin. They don't even want to stop.
Okay. What about what's the other, Kwame Alexander? Have you read him?
He's good as well. His books are phenomenal as well to put in their hands. Just like, as I said before, he has a basketball series. But make sure, because I don't know what your sisters kind of don't want them to read or not, but just, have her vet them first before she puts in their hands.
Okay. I would probably have to vet them because my sister's not going to read anything. She does not like to read. I've been trying my best. And after she could stop reading to them because they could read on their own, she said, okay, well, I ain't got to read nothing now. Okay, so let me tell you this story. When my sister was in school, she would not read. If she had to do a book report, so she would send me to the library. I'm 6 years older than her. I would go to the library, check out a book. I would read, and then I tell her what the book was about. She would write the book report, and she would get poster and draw a picture that went along with it. And then when she would come home a few days later, I would say, what did we get on our book report? Oh, we got an A. Because she wouldn't read. And I'm like, reading is wonderful. What she won't do it. I think the last book she read was probably something like Captain Underpants or Big Nate or something like that when she was reading to the boys, Yes, Raymond. Raymond's like, what? And DL says it was teamwork. It was teamwork. We were young. We didn't, we were young doing that. So, we wouldn't do that today. But yeah, and I don't recommend that your children do that. Don't have one read and then the other one do the report. I'm not advocating for that. We were young and that's what we did. But my nephew, he's one where the teacher gave him his own spelling words and he got upset about it. He said, why do I have my own words? And the teacher said, because all these other words the kids are reading, you already know how to spell. You have to move up a few levels. And so, yeah, but he absolutely devours books. We have to make him go outside and get his nose out of a book. That's a great thing. Yes. So Karen the reader says, I got my sister reading audiobooks to get her back into reading. That's great. And DL says, I thought she was going to try some medical nonfiction. I did show her Medical Apartheid, and she said she might be interested in that one. So maybe DL, I can convince her to read that book. Maybe. I'll keep trying. But ladies, I'm not going to hold you all night. I have really enjoyed spending time with y'all tonight. Thank you both so much for coming on. We really appreciate it. Thank you for dressing up, because I know everybody wouldn't, have done it. I said, we're going to be in cosplay night. That's just not everybody's thing. So I appreciate the fact that you did dress up for us tonight, that you shared about teaching and reading and being a social media influencer. And remember, everybody, it's not about the numbers, it's about the content and about doing what you love, right? And thank you to everyone who tuned in tonight. So I'm going to ask our guests to, Mika, I'm going to start with you, and any parting words that you want to leave with the audience about reading or books or anything.
Just read. even if it's audio, if it's ebook, if it's physical book, just get something in your hands and read, because it is the most phenomenal art form that you can contribute to in developing beauty in this world.
Ooh, I love that. I love that. And Bridget, if I'm out of line for asking this, you can let me know. But can you read a poem to us? Can
Oh,
is that okay?
I can. Okay, listen. Okay, yes. Let me grab one really quickly. I'll read the last poem in the book. How about that?
Okay.
Okay. How do we feel about language, real quick, before I go?
You're good.
Okay. All right, so this poem is from Be Trouble. It's called Some Heroes Wear Their Do-Rags with the Capes Flapping. Yes, I saw Black Panther 6 times in the theater. I'm not ashamed of it. Okay, it was a beautiful movie. This is how Black people have survived. Part 1. The colonizers' greatest mistake was underestimating our power. All they needed to see was a talented attempt to know that we were too dangerous to be left unregulated, unfiltered, unconquered, and so they did, or so they thought. But we still here. Still David and his sling. Still Harriet and her rifle. Still John here with a hammer. Still Jesse Owens whooping a Nazi's ass. Still Uncle Ali whooping Uncle Sam's ass. Still Michael Jackson on the moon. Still Captain Johnson with the mask. Still Michael Jordan with the rock. Still Dr. King taking a knee. Still Kaepernick taking a knee. Still Rosa Parks taking a seat. Still Mahalia raining down heaven. Still Richard Pryor raising hell. Still Fred Hampton with the bullhorn. Still Octavia with the pen. Still Malcolm X headed to Mecca. Still Chadwick at the Mecca. Still Ta-Nehisi at the Mecca. Still Morrison at the Mecca. Still Zora when she's laughing and Zora when she's looking mean and impressive. Still Barack Obama on the Capitol steps. Still Audre Lorde reminding us that she is not free while any woman is unfree, even if her shackles look like Cuban links. Still Asada in exile. Still Langston in Paris. Still Baldwin in Paris. Still Josephine in Paris. The time for running has come to an end. Stokely Carmichael said, tell them all the scared niggas are dead. We still T'Challa to the bullshit. We still Jesus on the third day. As you can see, we are not dead. This is how Black people have survived. Part 2. The colonizers' greatest mistake was underestimating our resilience. We've been minding our own business and mining something stronger than vibranium, reaping and sowing something better than King Cotton. We've been digging for something blacker and slicker than all what's understood don't need to be explained. Put some respect on our name. We are Wakanda. We ain't never been conquered. We've been Wakanda. Death is better than bondage, but you can't chain us no matter how hard you try. You can't kill us all, and you can't beat this black off us, and you can't shoot this black off us, and your walls ain't high enough to keep us out, and your jails ain't tight enough to keep us in. February ain't long enough to get us right. We be Wakanda. Just because we be magic don't mean we don't be real. This ain't no superpower. This is Black power, and all power to the people.
Oh my God. Oh my God. What? Oh my God.
I'm sweating now for real. I'm sweating now for real. Thank you. Thank you. Thank you.
Woo! Oh my goodness. I love it. I love it. I love it. I don't even, there's nothing else to say. Raymond says, let the church say amen. Okay, so let me thank my guests again. Mika, thank you so much. Bridget, thank you so much. Everyone watching, thank you so much. Woo! Powerful. Let me just go ahead and end this now. I don't even know what to say. Follow Black Readers Con across all social media so that you don't miss great events like this one that we had tonight. Make sure that you stay tuned so you can learn about the Black Readers Con conference that will take place October 28th through the 30th, both in New York and virtually. Follow the Reading Room 444 and Bridget Bianca, both on Instagram. I promise you, if you're not following them now, I promise you it will be a treat for you. They are both funny. They're both very intelligent, beautiful, entertaining, and when you log into Instagram, you will be searching for their stories. The stories are great. And I can't even recover, Bridget. I'm sorry. I'm trying to talk, but I just enjoy that so much. Thank you both so very much. I really do appreciate you being here. And on behalf of Summer, she was so glad that you all were going to be here with us tonight as well. I hate that she had to leave. But yes, and everyone watching, thank you all. And have a good night, everybody. Bye-bye.